Oh, crud. I didn't add you. I was too preoccupied. Okay, we'll get you squared away. And of course, why would it work? There we go. She's there. We're there. Everything's hunky-dory. Welcome to the April Dye-a-Thon, where we do our take on the Dye-a-Thon monthly challenge. But this month, it is super, super duper special, and I am super, super excited for this because it is the Upcycled Disc Challenge. Before I go any further, we have Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes.
Hello, it's Brittany from Ugly Hand Dyes.
Fantastic. If there's any audio issues or any other technical issues, please let me know because I had a few things there. But again, welcome and super excited for that. If you have not checked out the landing page for the Upcycle Disc Challenge and the intro video, definitely go check that out. Long story short, is this challenge is to take a used disc of any variety, dye it, then make it functional. So the make it functional part is what I am super excited about. So you get to flex your creativity to make something that could be potentially useful, which everything you make is going to be useful. It's going to be functional, but can make it useful. So I feel like I am a creative and I like making and inventing things. And this is just another way to flex your artistic, creative brain. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to show your like, a lot of us dyers doubt that we're artists, but this is just like really proving ourselves,
Mm-hmm. And the submissions that I've seen so far have blown my mind. I was like, wow, I'd have never thought of that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll be posting some of those submissions later this week, maybe early next week. But someone dyed a disc, cut it up, then put it back together like real stained glass, which was impressive. Yeah, so definitely go check that out. You can find that on the Dyers Guild website, or if you're on the socials, there should be links to that anywhere. And the other really cool part is the awesome prizes, which I was thinking I should have had it with me. But the prizes that you could win are these ice canyons. So canyons out of this ice plastic, which you cannot buy and is not released to the public. And the backstory behind those is Trash Panda needed to run the plastic, this new recycled blend plastic, before they added the color to make sure everything worked before they added the color. So again, super special mix or plastic that you cannot find anywhere. And you can win one of those. I got 5 of those on hand. The other prizes is Infinite Disc. They provided 2 packs of Dyer's disc. So one pack is 6 discs of Pharaohs that are bottom stamped, and another 6 discs of another mold that they make, which I cannot think of offhand. But you could win those, and they dye plastic beautifully. And we also have Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, graciously will provide some boxes, which I think are the best boxes for shipping your discs, and the most versatile boxes, because you can make it a little single box or a double box, and you win a bunch of those boxes and a bunch of others goodies that I have yet to release for the Dyers Guild. So yeah, that's a lot of me talking. What are we going to do today for this Dye-a-Thon? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make guitar picks. So I want to thank Terry Miller for this idea, because he suggested, why don't we make some guitar picks? I'm like, that's a great idea. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the dyeing portion, then I'll do a separate video of actually punching these out. And yeah, and people that are members for the ACE members, you will get a guitar pick from today's session dyed that I'm going to stamp or cut out and put in the box. So I did some testing to make sure I could actually do this, and I came very close to not being able to do this. So before I get into the dyeing portion, I'll explain the little how I got to the guitar pick. So if you ever seen, you can actually get these little punches to punch out guitar picks on card, like credit card plastic type thing. So I figured I could use one of these punches to punch out a flight plate. The first flight plate that I cut out was on a Discraft Raptor, and I had a scroll saw that I just cut it out. And it was also pretty neat to see the inside of the rim of all that stuff. But as you may know, the flight plate is a little bit thicker than a plastic card, and I could barely, actually with the Raptor, I couldn't punch one out. So I tried cutting it out and it was all jaggedy. Then I was trying to think what disc has the thinnest flight plate in my mind, and that was a glitch. Then I remembered we had this glitch that we had the community spin die when we were at the events. Like, that'd be perfect. So I cut it up and I could barely punch it out. So I actually have two punches, and the first punch that I have, it fits. What did I do? Okay.
He thought it didn't fit.
Okay, so the Raptor, this doesn't fit. The
Oh,
glitch,
but
the glitch barely fits. How did I not swear I tested this and it didn't fit? It's just working on camera now. But this first punch has a very narrow hole for that, and the second one that I have has a bigger hole for that to punch it out. So I tried using this. The metal was a bit thin, so I actually kind of bent this, and it was a pain in the butt. But I'm going to make it work. I'm probably going to break this in the process.
now you got another backup, so you're good.
Yes. So the flight plate
Where
was actually very similar in size, but as you could basically tell, this fits barely, but the Raptor doesn't. There's like a 0.3 millimeter difference between the flight plates. So
where did you get the guitar pick punches?
so I actually had one.
Of course you did.
Yes, because I'm a guitar player, and why not? Then I bought a second one just in case something didn't work, which I'm glad I did. And yeah, I got it on Amazon, and I can probably provide the link, which I should, of what I have and use that actually fits and works, if you want to give it a try yourself. But be warned, it's a lot of effort and work, and I had to try various ways to punch it out, and had to go like multiple times squeezing it, and a lot of leverage. So that is that. Now I need your guys' help to pick out what disc that I should dye for this and make some guitar picks out of it, and I'll show you what the options are. So first option that we have is this Eclipse Envy. This was in my bag for the longest time, and I mainly use it for forehand upshots. Really love this disc. It's got my information on the back, and I actually kind of want to do this because I want glow-in-the-dark guitar picks. So
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Don't know how thick the flight plate is though, and I'm hoping it would fit, but
I'm
either
also
way,
curious because it's like so flexible. Is it going to be different to cut?
maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Then I have a Neutron Wave. Again, curious on the thickness of the flight plate. Might be similar to like the Raptor, but I got this one. This wasn't my bag, but it was a bit meat hooky for me because the parting line is a little bit higher than normal wave, so I don't use that much. Fireball, this is my first introduction to Axiom MVP discs at the time. I found this disc and I threw it, and it was a complete meat hook, and I was like, ew. But it does have its purpose, and I tested offset spins way back in the day when I was developing Dave's Spin Dye jig rig. I have this Vision Tesla 161. So very curious about the fission plastic, if it's less dense and easier to punch. So I definitely want to do a fission plastic of some sort. Like this one because it's pretty flat and should be nice and good for those picks. I got a Fission Octane, which is a bit domier, but could be another good choice. Again, I threw this for a while, but didn't work out. I have a Fission Wave. This was my workhorse for the longest time and probably one of my favorite discs. You can see it is pretty used-ish, for to tell on camera. So don't necessarily want to chop this up, but I will. I got another Fireball because I, for whatever reason, wanted another Fireball. So I had this one on my bag for a while. I have a special edition fission reactor, which I think I would want to keep the stamp and that'd make cool parts of the guitar pick, I thought.
Huh.
And the last disc, which I really don't want to, but I can. This is my first and only Ace disc that I had, which is a Fission Envy? No, Hex. Fission Hex. So, what discs do you think I should dye and chop up? Brittany,
Definitely the glow.
Okay.
Definitely the glow. I personally would probably just be looking at flattest or lightest.
Yeah, then
An Ace disc.
yeah.
No sentimental Dave.
Destroy everything? All right.
Destroy.
This Tesla or Fireball? They're both actually the Fireball is a bit lighter.
Vision and glow says Thoreau and dimes.
Yeah, but what fission plastic? Octane's too domey, waves too domey, Fireball, not that. Wave, eh. So we got Fireball or Tesla. I'm leaning towards
Fireball.
Okie dokie. I was leaning towards a Fireball because I just don't like it.
Yeah, I got that sense.
All right. There we go. Yeah, I'll set those aside. Set the punches because we're not going to do that today. Others will got clearance the room. And today we're going to be using parts of the up and coming Floetrol kit. So if you haven't seen the new Disc Diaries vlog, definitely go check that out because I get a little more I can't talk today. More explanation of this kit. And if you are a member, you can order this kit right now at a discounted price. So yeah, definitely go check that out. And yeah, actually, I'm going to steal this cap because I need that for when I pour the beds. And I might eat some other things out of here.
You're going to be using that.
And this cap, I'll have some of these items for sale individually at some point in time. So yeah, I think. Okay. All right. I'm just debating on what I want to do. I think I'm going to do a chameleon cell with the square pan doing a swipe. Then I'll use this pan and do a radial type pattern. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to line this pan with anything. I'm just going to send it as is. And I'm just trying to think of which one I want to do which. Brittany, thoughts? Tell me what to do.
Chameleon for the glow.
Okay. Interesting. That works. That gives me some ideas for the Fireball then. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
If you're new to Floetrol, definitely go check out Littlebot's videos. He has a crap ton of videos on how to do Floetrol, and it's kind of where I learned a lot of my stuff. Also, go check out Functional Dyes podcast that I did with him. He explains how he does his process, which, yeah, I feel like I'm getting better at Floetrol, and it isn't hard for him. It does take practice, and like anything, you got to get familiar with how things work. And yeah,
I think you have to accept the unpredictability to some extent, but then also learn how to predict what you can. If that makes sense?
yeah. All right. And I already have the Floetrol rake, which I'm going to use for the chameleon cells. And this is in the kit. And it looks like a torture device, which you could do. And don't step on it like you would like a Lego if you drop it on the floor. That would hurt. Or maybe not because there's just so many nails. It just disperses everything.
Disperses. I think you should try it probably in front of us.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Fine.
All right. So the colors that I'm going to be working with are Dark Dungeon, which in honesty is a little bit more purplish blue, not completely black. So keep that in mind when you're using that. Caribbean, uh, Flame Scarlet, and Neon Lemon Zest. And I picked these colors because these are the three primary colors. And when you mix these colors together in the bed, you're not necessarily going to get brown, you're going to get secondary colors. So it's harder-ish to mess up a bed and get weird, funky colors like that. So I thought this was a good base color to start from. And if you really want, you can mix up the powder dyes to get the secondary colors if you choose to do so. Plus, we all have 50 sample packs of Pro Chemical and Dye, so we have all their colors if you wanted to try out other colors as well. Okay, so enough of me talking. I want to grab the swipe sheets from the kit. So you can use saran wrap, but in the kit I have these not like transparencies, but they're the plastic that you put in a binder to hold paper.
Sheet
Right.
protectors.
Yeah. Is that like the technical term?
So it's on the box. I don't know how technical it is.
There you go. Sheet protectors. So that actually works pretty well for swiping. But yeah. All right. Let's pour the Floetrol on the bed.
I also feel like it's much more reusable than like, you can just rinse those off and use them again and
Yeah.
again.
This is very, very true. So I'm using Floetrol. And again, this cap right here, this is meant to screen out any of the boogers that may get in the Floetrol or already in there. Um, when Floetrol dries, if you have ever noticed that you kind of get these boogers or harder parts of the Floetrol that aren't as liquid, this acts like a screen to make sure that doesn't get in your bed and mess up your design or anything like that. The other thing is if you haven't used your Floetrol in a while, make sure you shake it up because
Shut up.
stuff in here can separate. And
Mhm.
yeah, definitely want to shake that up. And yeah, we'll yeet. Okay. We'll let this bed sit for a sec. Okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. We got to clean the discs because we're using used discs. And this is like probably the most important step that you can do when dyeing a used disc is to clean it. Um, if you
Not for
can, what was that?
Do not forget.
Yes. So if you're using a used disc, it is going to be used. So you don't necessarily have to worry about the um, silicone oil that they use in the manufacturing process because that's probably long gone by now. But you do have a lot of dirt and grime that you want to
Mhm.
make sure you clean. And you can use soap and water. Um, I've seen people actually fill up their entire bathtub, make a nice bubble bath, and dump their entire bag in there and clean, which honestly I've thought about doing, but I didn't want to clean my tub after the fact.
Mhm. I actually really like when people give me a used disc to dye. I really like cleaning it. It's so satisfying getting all the dirt and grime off of it and being like, "It's, like, so much cleaner now." I
Nice.
I did grab, some old Floetrol I have here, and you can see how it settles.
Mm.
Probably go in the middle here. So that's, like, almost a clear liquid on top and then, like, the white thick stuff on the bottom, but with dye in it. So, definitely mix up your Floetrol.
All right. Can't get it 100% perfect, but it adds character. And I'm not going to really be using the rim anyway, so I don't know why I'm cleaning the rim, but
Just exhibiting, proper
yes.
cleaning techniques.
The other thing that I was thinking of is, if I'm making a guitar pick. A guitar pick can be two-sided. Should I dye the other side? And
I
if
think,
so, how?
I think it's a, metamorphosis guitar pick where, like, over time, the
Mm,
other side changes, so it's a selling point.
that would be, yeah, the dye migrating through the disc. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that I didn't mention is with the existing dye that I cut up, I could actually see the dye migrate through the disc. So certain colors were migrating more than others. I can't show you on camera because it doesn't translate too well, but I will post some pictures at some point in time showing that. So cutting through the disc was very learning, educational. Boy.
Drink. Dave messed up.
Yeah, well, I'll take a drink.
Drink my tea.
Okay. While I'm at it, I'll clean the fireball as well. No, I was thinking I would have had fireball drink with me.
That would have been smart.
I'm going to leave the stamp on.
Yeah, I think that's just gonna add cool pattern.
hmm Why am I cleaning the rim of the disc, you idiot?
I think Floetrol is pretty safe with stamps too,
Yeah,
from what I hear.
yeah, I believe so. But we're going to find out, and it's also going to be interesting because it is a used disc, and the stamp is not as strong as it used to be when it was new. So
Uh-huh.
curious on that as well. Learning
I'm
all around.
I'm surprised that Floetrol tends to be pretty safe with stamps considering, like, you have to use heat.
Hmm,
You would think, "Oh, it's gonna make it, like, destroy the stamp," but
Yeah.
not always, so
All right. Now we can do the bed portion of the die. And I'm going to create a actually pretty shallow bed. Um, one to help reduce the amount of material used to be eco-friendly conscious. Um, and I'm probably going to reuse this bed for some of the other used discs just to dye those because I have them. They might go back in the bag. So I am going to be reusing these beds. And I don't know how many times can you reuse a Floetrol bed. And it really depends on like if it starts getting too muddy or something like that. But
I've heard 3 a lot.
yeah,
I think sometimes people will add a little bit more, do some do some finagling with it, and sometimes they just send it as is, so
right on. All right. Just trying to get some of the air bubbles out by tapping.
also getting frustrations out.
Yes. Who do you work for? All right. I'm going to do stripes of color. Yeah, I'll do multiple stripes of color. I'll just go in order and keep doing that with the color. Then I'm going to do a swipe of black over the top. And I'm probably going to do swipe this way and a swipe this way to try to get as much coverage as I can with the black. Uh, yeah. So is there anything that you learned, Brittany, from last time that I should do this time that we forgot to do last time?
Mm. Nope, didn't learn a thing.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I think, you were light on the dye a couple times and some of the white came through, so we wanna make sure you put enough dye down.
Which I was fine with, but I do see where you're coming from.
Uh-huh. And with a guitar pick, it really probably doesn't matter. You can pick the parts you wanna punch.
Yeah, and knowing that a guitar pick is pretty small, I would like some nice tight type patterns per
Mhm.
se.
I think what's it called when you pull the
Swipe?
Well, yeah, well, they're both swipe. I mean, you're swiping both of them. The other one that you're gonna do where you get, like, the little organic I guess you could get little organic cells in either strategy,
Mhm.
but I think this one's gonna be good for that because you're gonna get a lot more small cells. Whereas the chameleon, a lot of them are pretty big, and they might not show up on a pick.
Yeah. I was the For the chameleon cells, I learned that low and slow to get those nice big chunky cells. So I typically put it in the dehydrator, bed in the dehydrator to get those cells to kind of form, or you can use a heat lamp. Um, I'm just going to see how they form organically
Mhm.
because I don't necessarily want or need big chunky
Big
cells.
cells, yeah.
I'm also curious to see how it's going to look on the glow plastic because I've never did Floetrol and glow. I know it's going to be a bit more muted just because of the plastic type.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see on that.
Are you gonna give it a little extra time because it's glow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
um, maybe 2 hours. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you have to worry about damaging the plastic like you would if it was going to be thrown.
hmm I think I have a booger in my blue. I'm just waiting for it to go.
Boogers happen.
Yes. Mm,
It never works. It's always stuck in there. It's always stuck in the little nozzle. You need to poke it,
yeah. Well, son
a
of a.
toothpick or something. Yeah, toothpick in that box.
Yes, we got toothpicks and nails and a bunch of other things you can poke with. All right. Oh, yeah. There we go.
From boogers to farts. This is how we art.
Nice.
Yeah, see, he's doing a little overlapping. That was the other thing we kinda learned last time.
Yeah.
A little overlapping is nice for getting those secondary colors.
And you can even, maybe you can't tell, but I can tell that the little cells are starting to form. And I don't have any oil in this mix at all. It's just the uh, Floetrol powder and just a smidge of water when I first made this mix. So
What's up, Xbox Trader? We're making guitar picks out of used discs.
I believe he also was a member and bought a Floetrol kit, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, well, this is the video for you then.
Yeah.
He's using the colors and, basically the stuff from the kit, so
Right. I remember the last time I didn't have paper towel ready and handy when I did the swipe, so got that ready.
yeah, it's good. And the garbage is right by you, by your, like, knee, right?
I am the garbage.
Trash Dave,
Oh.
here to swipe your Floetrol.
Yeah. And I just make sure that plastic sheet touches everything like a young kid touches everything and gets their germs everywhere.
Uh-huh. Which is why I'm currently getting sick.
Fantastic.
I have children.
But yeah, the nice thing about this plastic is you can clean it off and reuse it. So I just
That is nice. And, like,
briefly
who
wipe it.
who enjoys Saran wrap? Like, who's like, "Oh, I could really the Saran wrap is really easy and easy to use."
All right. Yep. Fantastical. Now I'm going to yeet the 3-in-1 oil. And I'm going to use my Ultra rake and I'm going to dip each of those nails into the oil. And I'm going to try to do the chameleon cell pattern. And basically what I do, I just dip each pin each nail into the 3-in-1 oil. You don't need a whole lot, like so. All right. I was debating if I want to start at one end and go to the other, or start in the center, then kind of alternate.
Hmm. Yeah, do the center. I think we
Okay.
started at one end last time.
Yeah. Ooh.
Not too deep, right? That was the
Yeah, I
lesson
gotta
last time.
take one of these nails out because it doesn't quite fit.
So easy and adjustable. What a
Yes.
great tool.
Uh, boop, boop,
You can see them immediately.
boop, boop, and boop. Oh yeah. Don't know if I like the alternating because when I went back to the other side, I didn't know exactly where I poked it, and it's
Yeah,
slightly
okay.
closer.
Yeah, well, it looks pretty good for
Yeah.
not knowing.
All right. And this is no heat. The only oil that I did was the pins. I did go all the way to the bottom, so that's probably why you can see some of the white. That's fine. Um, yeah. So we'll just watch paint dry in the cells form.
Can we see that tool? I wanna see how many holes you have plugged. Like, alternating? Okay.
So when you get the tool, you notice that. Let's see if I can bring it up. If it's not overexposed.
Oh,
I have little squares over the holes to kind of show you what holes you can use or where you're at. And yeah, you can use whatever hole you want to satisfy your needs.
and Dave just found his tagline.
Right. Um, yeah. Uh, I have something that I wanted to use right now, but it's way over there, and I'll
Torch?
use it next stream. No, it's nothing useful.
Oh. As I say, you don't need the heat because 'cause you're not going for really big cells. It looks like they're forming pretty good. Are you gonna add heat?
um, Probably not. We'll see. But you can tell this row I got too close to my first row. Um, yeah.
Could be a cool effect if you wanna try something different.
Okay, what we got? Uh, oops. I was having issues with this with the um, butane not turning off.
Yeah. Well, where's your other one?
Well, that's too small. I like this big one. Yeah, it all leaked out. All
Bummer.
right. Well, try
So
this.
many possible jokes.
We'll use the one that actually comes in the kit. How's that sound?
Yeah, see?
There we
It's
go.
meant to be.
But spot heating like this is nice because you can actually kind of work on one cell to make it grow if you want. Only that works on other body parts.
That looks cool.
Yeah, I'm liking this area because there seems like there's a little bit more layers.
Yeah. Not as much white, Dave.
Well, I could do like a non-weight base as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This is the motivation I needed to my
Yeah.
goal is tomorrow break into my Floetrol kit.
Nice.
So I'm gonna make mental notes right now and forget them and then remake the mistakes that you made tomorrow.
Nice.
This is how we learn.
All right. I think that'll be good enough.
That sounds really dangerous, Xbox. Saying his torch also, like, continuously fires, and says I do that, I blow it out and shake it until it stops. I'm just picturing like reignition being
Yeah.
really bad.
Um, yeah, these don't do that. So, but the other uh lightsaber one
The
that you gave me,
lightsaber isn't meant to go upside down, it seems.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna send this disc, and yeah. So I'm gonna go at a slight angle. I think I'm gonna start that way and go in, and you'll see because it is somewhat transparent. The line slowly move across the disc when it touches, which is nice to see when you're first dyeing discs to see how fast you need to go, what angle, and to see if you do get any air bubbles stuck in there. So cool. I'll stick that in a dehydrator in a second.
And then forget about it.
Yeah.
Last time he was like, "Remind me in 45 minutes," and I was like, "Yeah, totally." Like an hour and a half later, he's like, "You didn't
uh,
remind me." No, I sure didn't.
all right. The next bed that we're going to do is a radial type pattern. And this I am going to line with press and seal. Although I have to be careful with the torch because you can melt the press and seal and makes the press and seal basically useless.
Xander's talking about his favorite torch, which is the Blazer Big Shot. This is not the Big Shot, but it is the Blazer. It's a little bit smaller, it's still really big and really good.
The Blazer Big Shot GT 8000.
Multiple uses, you know. You can build a fire, for example.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The other idea that I was going to do for today that Terry also gave was making sunglasses. So I have a pair of frames that I was going to use and trace out the old lens on to the disc and cut it out and see if that would work. I just never got around to it because I would like to use a clear, transparent disc for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I thought that would
What
be
would
cool.
you be dyeing?
I don't know, some weird patterns. But they would be very useless as sunglasses, but they would look
Okay.
cool.
They're like like you go to the rave or the music festival wearing them, and maybe
Yes,
run into some people and they just give you a hug and everything's fine.
exactly, exactly.
I
Um,
don't speak from experience.
so yeah, for this, I am going to use Saran wrap, plastic wrap. Don't want to get sued. Um, and yeah, we'll do a radial type bed. Let's try to
Or you
think.
say radial?
Yeah, radial, round, radial.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what radial is. I'm surprised that you're using such a, sophisticated word.
Thanks. I think
Eh, say it how you want.
I'm a sophisticated type of kind of guy.
There it is. There's the Dave.
Mm-hmm. Sounds really smart in my head till I actually say it out loud.
It's part of your charm, you know? Sometimes you mess up a word or two,
Or all of them.
and then everyone has to drink. It's fine.
So keeping the beds thin, again, to not use as much material. And I would have to do a test, but my thought is a thinner bed can get better cells. Um, my thought process is you have less material, so the heat can permeate the Floetrol faster and better than if it was a thicker bed. Um, yeah,
I think the heat would also affect it differently because it'll heat up faster.
yeah,
That could be beneficial.
yeah. Um, and there's one thing that I forgot to mention on the other bed that hopefully I mentioned on here, but heating up the bed or letting the bed sit or torching the bed. Basically, with how Floetrol gets the boogers, the top layer gets just a little bit of tackiness, and that helps with that design or pattern to not blur and kind of stay in place. Kind of like how a clear glue bed is. When you stick the disc in, the glue basically glues the dye to the disc for the most part, so it doesn't move around. And that is my theory for Floetrol is it gets a little layer of tackiness to help not shift the design around and stay in place a little bit better. So letting it
And you
sit
can
a little bit, yeah.
sorry, you can kinda see that tackiness when you, like, hit it at an angle, you can see it looks
Mhm.
different with a little bit of time.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to grab my lazy Susan. And my name's not Susan, 'cause I ain't lazy. All right. Making sure everything is all hunky dory. Then I'm debating on what colors I want to use. I'll start with black. And I'm just going to go like I did with the first bed, alternating colors and circular radial rings until I reach the center.
So fancy.
And I'm going to be a little bit more messy with this one and not as organized, which I
Let the
hate.
chaos reign.
I also want to test out a larger bed if I want to do a full disc because when you pull inward, like this
Mhm.
bed is just perfect size for the disc, but when you pull inward, uh, all the cool stuff is kind of on the inside, and you have this like slightly outer ring of not as cool stuff.
Uh-huh.
If you had a larger bed, you can find out where the cool stuff is, and yeah,
Yeah, it tends to all suck in towards the middle, and then the outside's more of, like, a solid color or blank.
you know,
Yeah, like a 10-inch. What, like a ultimate frisbee?
yeah.
Something like that would be good.
And if I was smart, I would have grabbed it. I have one that I could see right over there. Whoop. And with these 4-ounce bottles, I forgot how many beds we got last time, like 4.5.
Mhm.
So that's not bad.
It's at least 4 because you did 4 discs, right?
Yeah,
But you threw away some beds that we were just playing around with. I mean, they might have been kinda recycled beds, but
yeah.
there was at least 4. It's safe to say.
Floetrol inherently uses a lot of material and medium, uh, but for a beginner kit to get into Floetrol, I believe it is a good amount,
Mhm.
and you can always mix more.
Right, because you still have all the rest of the kit, you just need more dye. You'll even still have Floetrol probably from your first
Yeah,
purchase,
and
so
if you only use the dye for these bottles, the
you
one
get another
teas
round.
yeah, the one teaspoon you use a half a teaspoon per bottle, so you can get 2 out of, 1 packet of dye.
Mhm. Also, you can get these, like, booster packs from Dave, so when you order your Floetrol kit, you just grab some boosters, and it's just, like, little sets of colors, or you can pick sample colors, and you're gonna want more colors no matter what you do. You're gonna be hooked on disc dyeing, you're gonna be like, "Man, I wish I woulda got those sample packs because I wanna try more colors now." So just do it. Just do it right away.
I would highly recommend it.
Mhm. I speak from experience here.
Plus, you can try out other colors to see what you like.
Yeah, and different colors are different in different mediums, so you will just always want more.
I want it all.
Want it now.
All right.
I mean, that looks cool like that, so I'm
Ooh, I
excited
bet.
to see what happens. Looks like a fun tie-dye right now.
Well, I'm gonna ruin it by swiping. Then I might actually do some splatter cells with the paintbrush. All right. I'm not a big fan of saran wrap, but if you do get saran wrap, get one with this little cutter
The
that's
cutter
built
is the
in.
way.
Otherwise, you are not gonna have a good time. Oh, so nice. All right. Got to remember to grab some more paper towel because I would have forgotten. Then I'm going to add the saran wrap and make sure the saran wrap touches the entire bed. God. Okay. We got it. We got it. Oh, you son of an Italy. Okay. We got it. We're good. We're golden. I think. Let it touch the center and kind of let it do its thing. Want to make sure it touches all the surfaces. There's only one surface, so make sure it touches the entire surface. Specifically, I want to make sure it's getting to the edges because I'm going to be twisting and pulling towards the center.
How's that on there, like, super smooth? Is that important?
No, not really. The important thing is just to make sure that the entirety of the saran wrap touches the entire surface. It doesn't necessarily need to be smooth. You're just going to be pulling it up anyway. So the main purpose is you want to drag the color, the top layer of the colors over other colors. And that's what helps get those different color cells and different colors. I want to grab it by the four edges slowly,
But not too slowly.
not too slowly. I'm going to
This is where the lazy Susan comes in handy, or a record. You could use your record player as well.
slowly rotate. Oop, there we go. Black! But the colors will come through eventually.
And now
And
we wait.
well, I'm going to add splatter cells. So I'm going to take the paintbrush that will be included in the kit
Mhm.
and dip it
Which,
in the.
which silicone are you using?
I'm using the 3-in-1, which I,
The kit does come with 2 different silicones.
as of now, uh, we'll see if people find the super lube effective or useful. I have a slightly uneven table, but I got 3-in-1 oil on the paintbrush, and I'm just going to tap it on to get some random cells. Again, you can't see the oil hitting, but I can, so there we go. And that's really all I need. And I'll
You
let
can
it
see
do
them
its thing a
forming.
little bit. I just want to shim my pan a little bit so it shifts over. There we go. Good enough. Then I'm impatient, so I'm going to torch this. But yeah, I find like with a torch, you get a lot of those small, really small bubbles.
I like those.
I do too. Yes. Try not to get too close to the press and seal. I didn't necessarily need oil, but it can help to get additional cells if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, I think that looks pretty sick.
It does.
And it's got like the nice tiny little bubbles, cells. There we
Yeah,
go.
I think that'll be good for this. Lacing, I think, is what some people call that.
Gotcha. A little bit. All right. cute. I mean, there's really no special way that I want to line the stamp up because I'm going to be
Cutting it up.
cutting it up anyways. But yeah. And like I said, the torch heating it up created that tacky layer on the Floetrol, so that should help with keeping the design in place. I'm liking the way that looks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll send it.
These beds just always remind me of like thermal imaging and like storm radar
Nice.
images.
I didn't think about it, but this disc is super flat and maybe a bit puddle top. So when I was putting it in, it's like, oh crap. So I kind of jabbed in a little bit deeper in the first end
Mm-hmm.
to hopefully make sure I didn't get any air bubbles trapped in there. So hopefully there's no air bubbles, which be hard to tell anyways because there's basically just a million cells
You know, earlier you had asked. Oh wait.
in and back.
Earlier you asked about dyeing both sides,
Yeah.
and there is the option of doing like a deeper bed, and then you continue pushing, and then you'll have like one side with like the smooth streaks, and the other side with like the cells or design.
You know, if I was thinking, I would have done that for that bed. But I was like,
I
I
wasn't
want to
sure
make.
if it was deep enough.
I said I want to make a shallow bed. Should have made it deeper. That's the plus side of having a deeper bed is you can fully submerge the disc.
But as we know, dye does migrate,
Yeah,
so it's, you know,
oh,
it's an
no,
option.
that will work. So yeah, what I plan on doing is trying to punch those out into guitar picks, and I'll be sending all the guitar picks to the ACE members for the next month. And if I have extra picks, I may sell those as well. And as far as actual picks and using it, they actually work. Um, yeah, they work. So yeah,
Later, dude. Way
all
to
right.
serenade everybody.
Yeah. Um, so they do work as picks. I'm actually kind of curious to see how long they would last after heavy use, but they are a little bit flexible, which I mean, you can get picks that are flexible. But yeah, totally playable. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what people come up with for this Upcycled Disc Challenge. And tune in May 6th, which is a Tuesday, where we're going to review all of them, take a look at them, and discuss and pick the winners for the judge's choice. And we'll see who has the um, topmost votes for their entries to hand out and give out the prizes for that. We may have a special guest, and we may move the date forward or back a day or two to accommodate said special guest. So yeah, that is all I have for today.
There are members only after this.
There is a members only after this, so if you are a member and you want to see and be in the after party, go check your email because you should have gotten that. If not, you can go on the Dyers Guild website and you should be able to find the link if you are signed in. Yeah, super excited for the Upcycled Disc Challenge. Um, I know Jesse from Trash Panda, he was excited. Terry Miller from the Disc Golf Guy, he was super excited and gave a bunch of ideas that helped out tremendously. And can't wait for that. And also very excited for the Floetrol kit. So if you know somebody or if you want to get into Floetrol, yeah, it's got everything that you need and did a lot of extensive testing and researching and asking other prolific, it's a big fancy word, Floetrol dyers to make sure that we get you the best items for Floetrol. And with all our kits, I guarantee it is the most comprehensive and the best dyeing kits in the entire market. I can guarantee that. So, yeah, if you want to get into disc dyeing, or yeah, even if you have any questions before you buy anything, just you can shoot Dyers Guild a message or an email, and we'll get you all squared away.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Well, that's enough rambling for me for now till the after party. But until next time, guys, find your line and craft your piece. Bye. All right.